Hello darlings, I'm going to show you how you can transform a basic slip into a beautiful nightgown. Now as you can see here, the straps are uneven since the elastic has gone on one side, making it appear lopsided when worn. So I'm going to take you along on my journey to transforming this nightgown. The first step in any creative sewing process is to draw out your design. This helps to visualize the final result, and you can use different images as inspiration. So for mine, I've gone for a 1940s nightgown look, so I used a few images to base my design off. So the plan is to have lace straps over the top and lace in the underbust area as well. And I'm hoping to fasten at the back with a press stud and also a button. I happen to have the perfect matching lace for this. I'm not sure whether you would call it a mauve or a lilac, but it's just the perfect fit. It matches spot on with the silk. So the next thing to do is to drape the lace how you would want it to be in the end. So I'm just having a look at how it will look and whether I want to go ahead and unpick the slip. So now I'm going ahead and unpicking right underneath the two triangles for the bust area. After spending a while unpicking, I then realized that the two pieces of fabric were actually overlocked together. They weren't overlocked separately. So I also had to unpick all of the overlocking. So instead of taking too much time doing that, I got out my scissors and I just cut straight through that so that I could just pull it apart as quick as possible. So now we have the two individual triangles, and I've kept in the gathering on the bust line so that keeps that nice tailored look that you do want in a bust area. And I'm just going ahead and unpicking the elastic from the straps because that's loose, and you know, we're going to replace that with beautiful lace instead. And go ahead and iron because this silk slip was really crinkly from being stored for so long. So I'm just going ahead, smoothing it all out with a cool iron on the reverse side. And again, I'm just having a play around with how the lace will look on the final product. So after I, fiddle around a little bit more, I can then move on to actually sewing it. So before I sewed the lace down, I sewed in between the two triangles so that they joined a little bit higher instead of being a little bit lower and more revealing. So I'm going to sew straight along the bottom of the lace and then turn that under. A very helpful hint you always want to, before you go ahead and sew something, is pin it to see how it's going to be, how many adjustments you need to make, because you're gonna have to do so much unpicking if you've sewed all of these areas and they're not what you want. So I've just laid the bottom half of the slip inside out and pinned that down the sides because the top half is smaller, so I need to make the bottom half smaller as well so they match up. So I'm going ahead and sewing straight down the sides. It's day 2 and we're going to keep going with the slip. I have the bottom half of the slip separated and the bodice, and we've just got to connect the two. I've already put the lace in, and so we need to connect them and then also add in the lace straps. And that's it. So let's see how long that takes me and if I can get it done today. Actually, I just realized the washing machine is churning behind me. Yeah, don't we just love a washing machine going in the background? Why would I do that? I noticed there was a seam straight down the back of the nightgown, and I knew that I could use that as my opening to get in and out of the nightgown, and then I could attach a little fastening like a press stud or a button at the very back. So I went straight ahead and unpicked that all down to about maybe 10 centimeters. I pinned the bottom half of the nightgown to the lace just to see where my seams needed to be and where my middle was, and making sure to double roll to ensure no raw seams were showing. Now, I had to sort out the side seams because I couldn't leave them raw since silk molds like crazy. So I had to think of a finishing edge. So I looked at the bodice section and they'd done a very small double roll, which I wanted to do for the side seams. So I pressed all of these inwards so they were folded together. Raw seams inside, pressed together, pinned that down, and then sewed straight down the sides. Followed by top stitching the bottom half of the slip to the lace. So time to move on to attaching the straps. I pin the straps onto the front section of the bodice and then let them hang over to the back so that I was able to determine how long my straps needed to be. I gathered the front and pinned that down. I made sure to measure in extra length to the straps just in case I made any mistakes with the measurements. So after cutting both of the straps off, I pinned them onto the back of the bodice so then I could try it on to make sure that my measurements were the same as the mannequin's. And fortunately, we were the same size. Now that I knew that I had pinned everything correctly, I went ahead and sewed the straps onto the bodice. I finished the opening of the back of the slip with a double roll. And now I'd pretty much finished the whole slip. I just had to attach a press stud and a button for the closure at the back.